So we've got high achievement, that's results, not effort. Affiliation, which is the working with other people, humanistic, and then self-actualization. When this is how people feel and this is how results get produced, you have a healthy, functional culture. On the other side of the house, when strategy gets stopped and things don't get initiated, or they stop or they stall, or there's roadblocks that continually get in the way, that's dysfunctional. And there's two polar opposites of dysfunctional. There is aggressive, defensive, where you better get out of my way because I need things done and you're in the way. And now I'm pushing. And when I'm pushing, what that creates is on the other polar is defensive, passive. So people are protecting themselves. So they're not getting anything done, or they're just working in their own little framework, or they're coloring inside the lines and only doing exactly what they're told to do. Neither of those environments is high achievement because
I
there's
just
way
want
too much
to,
drama.
I just, not to throw you off track, but I just want to, share with you, and you probably know many people that have experienced this. I've always considered myself a pretty highly motivated person, and I've run into many people that aren't nearly as motivated as I am. And that's a really frustrating moment when, and not just operating my company, but when I was with Sony, when I was with Apple, when I was with any of those organizations, some people are just shot from guns, and others, are indifferent. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah. So that's really great, George. I'll never forget, this is early on in our relationship, when you looked at me and you looked at the DISC profiles of the people on the team and you looked at the aggressive, movers and shakers, and you said, I want all those people, which is great, except for all those people will kill each other. So almost every company that we go into, I mean, the name of my company is Keen Alignment, because the ultimate objective is to have people aligned around the strategy so that they can go fulfill it and the company can be successful. You will, whenever you have human beings, you will have passive and you will have aggressive. And the more passive the passive people are, the more aggressive the aggressive people are. And then what you have is entanglement. And so how you address it is, you, first of all, this goes back to my roots, make sure you have the right people in the right jobs. And if they're not, you cannot keep them, especially in an economy that is so up and down, chaotic, crazy. We don't know if we're coming or going. If you got the wrong people in the wrong job, they have to go. We are not in an environment that you can turn a sow's ear into a silk purse. You just can't. If somebody's not right for the job, they're not right.
That's one of those good to great principles. And I don't know why the name is escaping me of the author right now.
Collins.
Jim Collins, right? And right people on the bus, right seat on the bus. Just because you're on the bus, you could be completely in the wrong role.
That's right. And this is happening a lot, especially when somebody cares about the company and they're loyal, but they might be in the wrong job. And then you have all these breakdowns around them. They're not getting work done, or they don't do complete work. So first and foremost, you got to make sure you have the right person in the right job and that they want to be in that job. And then you got to give them training, not a ton of training. This is, again, not the climate for a ton of training, but you've got to make sure they know how to use the technology. You've got to make sure they're willing to use the technology, and you've got to make sure that they know what their job is. And then you got to nip those conflicts of entanglement in the bud fast. And this is another question you asked, but like, how responsible is the executive team? The executive team is very responsible for removing obstacles. If we're doing things the way we've been doing for 10 years and everything's changed, we have to start doing things differently. If people are not allowed and don't have the freedom and empowerment on the front lines to improve their experience of the role, to give the customer a better experience, then you've got an organization that's going to be stuck in entanglement, because I might have a great idea, but I got to go ask John, who has to go ask Bob, who has to go ask Ken. And now we got to go up 3 phases to make one simple improvement on the front lines.
Yeah, and
And
that's either a problem with too much hierarchy or a problem with too much legacy systems. Either way you
Both.
want to look at it, right?
Both. And they're it's everywhere. And the smarter people you hire, the less propensity they have to put up with BS. They want things done and they want them fast. Even the people, George, who are more methodical and who you might call passive, I might say they're methodical and detailed. They don't want to fail and they don't want to hold the company back. But some people think they have to do exactly what they were told because that's the framework that they come to. But when you find out in this self-actualization process, no, they want to follow a process, but they really want to feel that they have the freedom and the power to contribute wherever they want to contribute so that they feel like they are fully used up in that job. So there's a lot of different reasons for conflicts, and we have to get to the bottom of why it's there.
One of the things I've read recently, I think this came from Guy Kawasaki, is that progressive companies take some of their most talented people and intentionally do not leave them in the same role for any particular length of time, with the idea being that the longer you're in a given role, the more you're accepting of the status quo, the more you're accepting of things that'll never change. And when you move into a new role, you have insights and observations that, to use your word, that can be actualized both in yourself and in the way the organization does things. So that seems like it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it's so what happens when I start a new role is all of my neural pathways are getting challenged. So they say, if you want a brain to learn, and I know you've challenged me a little bit on text about the brain doesn't do this or whatever, but if you want to learn something new, you almost have to be shocked into learning something new. It's the same concept. Back when I used to own a staffing firm, they would say, move people's desks, have everybody change desks, have them sit by a new person, because the brain is wired to go with the familiar. And it's the path of least resistance. So when you shock somebody, give them a new job, put them in a new role, give them something new to work on, you actually open up all their brain synapses and everything is clicking, and there's newness. So it's the same concept of, if you want to do something, if you walk down a street and you fall in a hole, well, the next time you got to walk around the hole or walk down a new street so you can learn something new. And that actually, these growth mindset cultures like Microsoft, it's one of their core values, and a lot of people are copying, a lot of companies are copying. If you're truly in a growth mindset, it means you are learning something new quarterly. You're on new projects. Your job is to improve that process. Your job is to streamline. Your job is to come up with something better than we're already doing. And there are people who thrive in growth mindset environments, and there are people who will not thrive in those environments. And those people, I highly recommend that they learn how to learn, because in the world we're living in, if you're not learning how to learn, you will be learning how to collect unemployment.
That is such a profound statement. And I think you know that I always emphasize continuous learning in my organization.